Yeah. Let's get it. It's your boy, Mr. Floyd, that math teacher, half preacher, bringing y'all a lesson on adding and subtracting fractions. Hopefully, you guys are having an amazing week. You guys are having attitudes of gratitude and showing some love and being light in all spaces because I know that everyone has a gift and everyone has an ability to make someone else's day better. So make sure you're taking advantage of that opportunity whenever it comes your way. But today we're going to take advantage of our ability to add and subtract fractions. All right, so without further ado, we're going to get right into it, adding and subtracting fractions. And the strategy that we use is called the common denominator strategy. This is called the common denominator strategy. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rectangle around this first fraction. That rectangle shows me, okay, I'm starting with this first fraction. And my next step is to multiply both the numerator and denominator by the opposite denominator. And I'm going to just go ahead and show this by virtue of drawing two arrows. So I'm going to multiply both the 9 and the 10 by that 2. So I'll go ahead and show this underneath of my problem. 9 times 2 is 18. 10 times 2 is 20. And just like that, we are finished with our first fraction. Now I'm going to erase these arrows just for our diagram's sake. Now I'm going to move to my second fraction here. I'm going to change my colors. So now I draw a rectangle around my second fraction. Oops, sorry. Not the best rectangle, guys. And now I know I have to multiply both the numerator and denominator by the opposite or by the other denominator. And I'll show this once again by drawing my arrows. So I have to do 1 times 10 and 2 times 10. And I'll show that underneath of my problem. So I do 1 times 10, that's 10. I do 2 times 10, that's 20. And now it's very important to pause right here because we have to check to make sure that we have our common denominators. Because if there's no common denominator here, we're going to get the wrong answer when trying to solve the problem. So I check right now and I see my denominator for my red fraction, or my first fraction, that's 20. The denominator for the blue fraction, or my second fraction, is also 20. So therefore, I know that 20 and 20 are the same. So yes, we do have common denominators. Now, the second thing I want to check for is that symbol. Because I drew over the symbol. It might be difficult for you to see, but this is an addition sign. So we have to make sure that we carry or drop down that same symbol. And that will come into play a little bit when we go over here to subtraction. Now, this is called the common denominator strategy because we keep our common denominator. The denominator is 20 in my first fraction. It's 20 in my second fraction. You might be tempted to say 20 plus 20 is 40, but do not do that. It's called the common denominator strategy because the denominator for our answer will be the same as it was in our fractions. So you got that right. It's going to be 20. And then for the numerator, we will just add straight across. So 18 plus 10, you got that right. That is 28. And that's how we add fractions using our common denominator strategy. And you might say, wait a second, what if we have to subtract? And I say, okay, we'll use the exact same common denominator strategy. I'll draw a rectangle around my first fraction. Remember, I'm multiplying both the numerator and denominator by the opposite denominator, by the other denominator. And I will show this by drawing my arrow. So now I have 4 times 5, which is 20, and 10 times 5, which is 50. And my first fraction is now complete. Now moving to my second fraction, go ahead and draw a rectangle. We're going to go ahead and do 2 times 10. Remember that numerator and denominator, both of them, multiply both of them by the opposite denominator. So I do 2 times 10, and I'm going to show that by drawing an arrow, and 5 times 10, showing that by drawing an arrow. 2 times 10 is 20. 5 times 10 is 50. And now we have to pause and we have to check. Are my denominators common? 50, 50 are the same? Yes, they're common. Next thing we need to do is check our sign. Oop, it's not addition. Our sign is going to be subtraction. Then lastly, we're going to go ahead and solve the problem. It's not going to be, my denominator is not going to be 0. It's going to be 50 because of my common denominator strategy. But that numerator will be 0 because we call it the common denominator strategy. That means that we're going to either add or subtract that numerator. So 20 minus 20 is 0. The answer is 0/50ths or 0 or also undefined. All right. And that's how we add and subtract fractions. You guys, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you guys just checking this out. Hopefully it gave you guys some value and a better understanding on how to add and subtract fractions. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them in the comments. I'll feel free to answer those whenever I get the chance. Thank you guys again. I appreciate you guys. Remember, be great, be a leader, love yourself, and love others. I'll talk to you guys soon.